to Miss Vicky's Bookcase, where we have a little bit of a Christmas special where we are going to be, of course, doing a Christmassy type theme. Well, kind of Christmassy. I decided that I would go with The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe as the theme, but it's going to be really, really loose because I'm kind of doing medieval at the same time. So I'm kind of shoehorning The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe a little bit in there, but at the same time, hopefully this all should work really well. Now, because this also took me a really long time, I decided that I wouldn't show you my line drawings. I will put up a video of that. If you want to see it, it should come up fairly soon. And that's going to be nice, relaxing music. I'm not going to talk in that, so you'll be happy to know that. Now, for my first page, my title page, I thought I'd go with the iconic scene of the iron tree in the middle of the woods in The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, but I kind of did a medieval theme, as you can tell, where the tree is actually the lamp, and I thought it'd be really fun to put in a medieval style lamp. I think it's called a horn lamp, I'm not entirely sure, but I'm going to stick with horn lamp rather than a 1850s style street lamp, and that's basically all you always see in those scenes. But I decided to go with the medieval flavour, and of course a medieval person would obviously put a lamp on a tree, obviously, so it's a tree lamp. Get it? Yes? No, never mind, that's so bad. I have also used throughout the month this kind of floral decoration. I say floral, it's really leaves, mostly leaves anyway, and it always reminds me of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe because it features a lot of trees and woods and of course the White Witch, but we're going to leave that alone. And also, by the way, just so you know, there are going to be no people in this. My drawing of people is so bad at the moment, I daren't even risk it because it takes too long to draw. But my goal for next year is to actually do at least one page per month where I have to draw a body or a face or something human, so I can actually get into the habit more and overcome this little problematic thing of not being able to draw people. So going back to the drawing a little bit, I decided that I would do the leaves for this in green and yellow. It kind of didn't really work because I decided to change the colours a little further on. And it's fine, I don't mind having the green and yellow, so it's just a preference type thing. And of course it doesn't quite match up, but that's okay because it kind of does in the end anyway, if that makes sense. So on to the second page, which is my tracking page. Oh, I should give you a warning, there are two places where the computer seems to have eaten my footage. I don't know where it's gone. I've looked all over for it. So we're going to jump 2 times and I will mention it at the time they jump because it's very frustrating when that happens. Okay, one was human error where I thought I recorded it, but the other one, I don't know where it's gone. It's gone into the ether, but we will see. Anyway, back to the picture. This second picture, I decided to go with the castle of the White Witch. So the way I've drawn it, again, is very medieval in style. I've got the castle in the middle, which was very interesting to paint, let me tell you. And I did kind of like a cut through of the inside. I actually didn't put anything in it because you kind of want it warm and inviting and try not to show what she's actually like, so I kind of did it like that. So it's going to be a nice golden colour to deceive Edmund, so that's kind of where I was going with that. And the other thing, of course, is the floral decoration. It should connect throughout the pages, this floral decoration. I did change that again a little bit further on. I decided on this one that I would do just the branches in one line, and it's not like I regret that because it's absolutely fine as it is. But when I add in like the 3D-ness of it later on, it actually works so much better and the style and decoration works a bit better. But this is all about experimenting and just trying different things. And this again is a really good record for me to refer to when I want to do something similar in the future. And I can see what I did and what I changed and how it works best, which is great because it's kind of almost like a sketchbook in that particular way. Now, this is the theme I ended up going with in the end, with the blue and the red, and this is because these are predominant colours in the medieval manuscripts. They are always those colours that they pick, and that's because of how expensive pigments are in the medieval period. And blue and red, I think, are the two of the most easiest to obtain, whereas you will hardly ever see any black because black is so outrageously expensive you would not believe it. So I kept with the blue and red, and that again actually worked way better than the green and yellow I originally chose, because I was going with kind of like, oh, they're leaves, they of course need to be green. I felt like actually the blue and the red worked way better. Now, the other thing I should mention is that with this tracking page, I decided that because it's working up to Christmas, I would do it like an advent page. So my tracking isn't 1, 2, 3, 4 in rows. I decided to go with the mixing it up, so I have to find the number for each day that I want to colour in. I thought that would be a little bit of fun, especially as it's exciting to try and feel the spirit of Christmas, kind of doing it in an advent type way. I'm not going to do that always because I think it would just confuse me, but I did enjoy doing that. Now, the other thing I decided to do, I wanted to do a kind of like sky background, which is why this looks a bit weird where you have the mountains on one side but not on the other, because I kind of wanted one side to be quite plain and the other side to be kind of like almost deceiving, where it's nice and rich and richly decorated and appealing, and you have the other side where it isn't, kind of again reminding us of the fact that the White Witch wants Edmund to be on her side, so she wants to deceive him. So that's kind of my thinking. As I said, this is a really loose theme that we're going with this, thrown in a kind of like a medieval style, and I kind of really enjoyed doing book theme with the medieval style, and I think I'm going to carry this on next year to see how much I can get out of it. Who knows, I might get bored of it like I did this year, because this year was supposed to be fairy tales and I gave that up in I think March. I think it's because I was trying to draw the Little Mermaid. Total disaster. I told you, I just can't do people, and that's why I have a goal to draw people next year. But anyway, so I did jump onto the next page a little while ago, but I need to finish my sentence first. And as you can tell, I kind of skipped out a bit, and the red is already painted on this page. But as you can see, I've kind of progressed a little bit with my decoration. I decided to change it for this block border, which I really like, and the 3D plant. I'm going to go with that. It's a lily. That's what I'm sticking with, and I really love the way this turned out. And also, just in case you're wondering, this is supposed to be the scene from the stone table. We've got the stone table in the left hand corner, so it kind of works a little bit better that way, especially with this thick border. It really creates this great focus both on the right hand side, where I have this really elaborate lily plant thing. I don't know what else to call it really. And then you have the juxtaposition on the left hand side with the stone table. It's very plain and just with decoration coming out of it. Again, I really like the contrast with the two, and I am sticking with the blue and red theme now that I've settled to it. It works way better. I'm really enjoying it, and I love the interspersion of the little leaves. It's really fun. I've really enjoyed doing it this way, and also because I know that I'm not going to be reading very much this month, I decided to go all out with that weird lily plant decoration thing and just have it on the more elaborate side. I also decided that I would go full copper for this page with the writing, because I really liked the effect of copper on the previous pages, and also, by the way, the gold didn't work quite so well with mixing it with the copper, but we're going to let that go. And that was the other thing I decided to do for this, is do the more elaborate lettering with this. It only really needed December and these two, because everything else I decided not to do lettering, especially the book of the month, and you'll see why in a minute why I didn't do that. But I thought, you know what, we'll do a bit of copper, and I really enjoyed having the copper. It might be next year that I just do a whole metallic theme type thing, maybe to go with a sci-fi book, because my aim is kind of like to do medieval style but representing scenes from books, and that's why I said people are gonna visit in there. At least with the medieval manuscript things, they don't expect the best, which is great, because I just think it's going to go wrong. Anyway, so this is the good thing about doing the more elaborate lettering. You can just whack in a bit of pigment and a bit of paint, and they look fabulous. I'm so pleased with these. I took so much effort to draw these. I really ought to learn calligraphy, but you know, maybe next year. And I enjoyed doing the scene with the lilies, and the block border works so well, especially with having the plants woven in and out. I was really pleased by that, and I was really pleased. I haven't done it yet, but I will be painting one of the border strips in gold. Again, that really pops very well and a very good reflection of, again, the medieval style where they did use a lot of gold leaf. The more gold leaf you used, the more expensive the book was, of course, because gold leaf represents your wealth. And actually, if you didn't know, medieval books actually represented the wealth of the family because it takes so long to create a book, and that includes all the miniatures, the decorations. If they were just copying just the lettering, it's not as expensive, but for every miniature or decoration you have, you're going to have another monk, because it's usually the monks that do this, having to paint the miniature. And knowing how long it's taken me to do this, and I'm not doing it particularly well, and I'm going quite fast, it took me ages. So I can imagine how long it's going to take to do that. Now that I've finished rambling about medieval books, we are now on the last page, and that is the book of the month. And now you can see why I didn't write any lettering on this, because I decided to do a massive castle, and of course this is Cair Paravel, which I think is the big main thing from the end of the book, if that makes sense, where they have the two daughters of Eve and the two sons of Adam having their throne. Now I didn't do it the same as the White Witch, where we have kind of one tower and like a warmth theme going on. I decided to do very elaborate castle, because when I think of Cair Paravel, I think Disney and elaborate castle, but not kind of like defensive or anything like that. And by the way, just in case you're wondering, yes, the buildings are deliberately slanted. This is, again, very much the style of the medieval period, because they want to show depth and that things are at different angles. And I kind of kept with that as well. And it was kind of fun to do, even though it kind of looks a little bit weird. I kind of enjoyed the fact that the church is kind of like one going one way, the hall is going another, and everything looks a bit hodgepodge. I really like that, and I really like the fact that kind of it seems very inviting and lots of buildings everywhere, and it feels kind of special that way. Now I did also put some trees in, which I think I'm currently painting, and that again makes me think that it's inviting, because a lot of medieval castles, of course, did not have trees in their courtyard because they were defensive mechanisms, and I don't feel like Cair Paravel is like that at all. I always think Disney. Anyway, I'll stop saying Disney all the time. I just wanted to show kind of the warmth and the openness of it all, and I feel like it did quite well. It's not as well as I hoped it to be, but hey ho, it's all a work in progress. And this is why I was saying there are things that I did right towards the end that I really liked, and I kind of wish I did that at the beginning, again with the border. And I've got a border here. Now the only thing is I totally forgot to add in some more leaves when I was inking it, so I'm afraid it's a very barren lily that's kind of framing the page, which is fine, because that makes me smile whenever I see it. I'm like, oh, it's just recovering from winter. That's all it is. It's springtime now. It's just recovering. It's fine. And also, the other thing I should mention, because it just looks a little bit weird looking at it from this distance, is that the lilies are kind of like hovering into nothing. And that's because the lilies are going to frame the little Polaroid I'm going to produce for the book of the month. So it looks kind of weird, but this is how a lot of medieval decoration does, again, where they have elaborate floral tributes or whatever. Sometimes they don't do floral. I do see other things, but floral is easiest. And they kind of weave that through the picture, and I really like that aspect of, again, and that is something I am going to carry on for next year. Well, at least my hope is. And also maybe the colour theme. I'm really loving the red and the blue, which is great. I like it. I am going to try and change the colours a little bit though, because I think I've done so much blue and red throughout this year that I probably do want to change the colour, even if I do keep with the style. I did think about putting in a little picture on the little ring at the top, and I kind of should have really done something, but I kind of like that I kept it blank. It might be that I do a little small picture representing my second favourite book. We'll see how we go in the next month, and I can always change my mind and paint it or just leave it as is. I really think that I probably will do something. It just doesn't look quite right, but we'll see about that later on. And of course I did also put, which I'm going to do in a second, the gold border bit in again. Really like that. It just makes everything stand out so much, and that's the same when I do put the pops of gold in the picture as well. I just love the medieval style so much. It's so whimsical and so interesting. I do get a little bit obsessed with it. But anyway, moving on. So we're going to be flipping back and forth a little bit with the pages because I'm adding white decoration in as well. And again, medieval people, they just know how to work it, and it works so well. Oh, actually, before I do the white, I've just realised I decided that I'd paint this blue because when I was looking at it, it just looked really odd being white. And so I thought, do you know what? I'll just put the blue in. And again, this represents nighttime, just before Aslan comes to the stone table and the Wicked Witch gets there. Well, not the Wicked Witch, it's the White Witch, but she's still wicked. And it does look a little bit odd having a blue, but hey, I'm just going to stick with it. And it kind of works quite well, and it kind of makes it a little bit more interesting instead of having it a bit blank. Now, back to the white. With the white, I was actually experimenting a little bit with this, and it kind of went a little bit wrong, and I'll talk about that when we get to the little bit that goes a little bit wrong, if that makes sense. But overall, adding the white after it's all dried, it just adds that wonderful pop of colour, and it just brings out the picture a little bit more. Now, there are loads of different options you can use to put a white in. I use mostly a white gel pen, but you can actually use Tipp-Ex, and this is what my experimenting is going to be about. I'm so sorry, by the way. This is the other problem I'm having, is I've moved to a different part of the house, so this is my now new setup, and I've got a ring light to go with it, and the ring light keeps dipping. I haven't tightened it, so it moved, and I didn't realise it moved, so you can't actually see some of what I'm doing, so I do apologise for that. Hopefully this will be the last time where you can't actually see what I'm doing, and I'll try and get a better focus for next month, fingers crossed. The other thing I did for this page as well, that I'm just about to do, is I got one of my brush markers and I was just putting in the windows very quickly with this. If you look at the medieval pictures very closely, you see that they just kind of almost do like flicks, and that works really nicely as well. Also, I'm drawing in the roof of the castle because that, as I said earlier, that was one of the things that I actually didn't do as well. Oh, you see, I actually kind of realised I was in the wrong place and so moved it up. Now, this is one of the things that I did experiment with as well. I decided to add in like this branch thing, and I'm not entirely sure it worked. I'm in two minds about it, but since I'm not going to be reading huge amounts, now that I've said that, I'm going to read huge amounts, aren't I? And I kind of liked having it, but I didn't at the same time. And having these branch things, I'm not sure what to call them really, it kind of did add character, and it kind of did make it a little bit more interesting. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm not sure. What do you think? Put a comment down below if you have an opinion either way as to whether they worked or not, and depending on the opinion, I may try this again at some point next year. I'm currently blocking out what I think I'm going to be doing for each theme for the month. This year I've done seat of the pants, where I've just decided at the last minute what I'm doing, and I've changed my mind so many times. Next year we're going to be planning better. Oh, now this is our experiment with Tipp-Ex. Now, I did buy the cheapest Tipp-Ex I could find, mostly because I refused to pay for the brand because I'm really cheap. And the experiment was, I used the bottle for this, and when I shook the bottle, it felt really kind of thin, and when I opened it, for some of it, it kind of blobbed everywhere, so I had to quickly wipe it up. And it kind of worked, because I was doing such a large area, or areas, because I decided this side is the White Witch side, and of course it's still going to be snowing a lot, so all the numbers need to have snow on it. That was my thinking, and it kind of worked for the large areas, but at the same time I'm still not sure. My white gel pen worked way better when I was drawing it on the watercolor, although it did go a bit weird for one bit. We'll get to that in a minute. And with the Tipp-Ex, you didn't have quite that problem because it'll just paint over anything, which is a good thing. I'm just not sure that using the liquid bottle was fairly good. And I did try the pen to the left hand side of my picture, there is the pen waiting to be used, and I do use that a little later on. In fact, we're just about to use it, I think. Or I might change my mind. No, I think I tried the gel pen. Then when the gel pen was being a bit weird, I tried the Tipp-Ex pen. Both of them, they just seem to have this weird problem with the red. I don't know why, because it didn't happen anywhere else. Oh, there you go. I'm trying the Tipp-Ex pen. That was kind of worse. So I was like, I'll just go back to the gel pen. I might try the Tipp-Ex method again next year. Maybe not when I'm trying to do snow or weird elaborate stuff. Maybe try it a little bit different. But overall, it wasn't bad using it, which is great because gel pens can be quite expensive. Now, I think we're practically on the very end where you get to look at this in all its glory, hopefully in any second now. Here we have our title page, of course, with the iron lamp. Then we have the tracking page with my books on one side and audio on the other, and the White Witch's Castle. Then we have, hopefully, the stone table with my TBR and red page with the weird flower thing. And then last of all, we have Care Paravel and the Book of the Month. I hope you've enjoyed seeing all the things I've done with my bullet journaling, and hopefully this has inspired you to do something a little bit different and to try a different style out. I will hopefully see you in the next month. I've got great plans for next year. I might even manage to be able to do an extra video or two. Got my fingers crossed on that one, and I will see you in the new year if not. Bye!